Being present in the moment, as long as you're unable to access the power of now, every emotional pain that you experience leaves behind it a residue of pain that lives on in you. That's from Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now. Okay. Obsessions about past hurts or worries of the future prevent you from being present in the moment. Very often, it's always interesting to me, people who are teaching mindfulness, and those of you that don't know, mindfulness is a part of dialectical behavior therapy, and they don't, a very, shall I say, skillful way to be mindful is to be mindful of your thoughts and your emotions. But for many people entering mindfulness, what happens is they tune in to obsessions that they're having, and they're not being mindful at all. The most concrete, best, solid way to teach it usually is to tune into your five senses. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? Physically feel, not emotionally feel. And to be present with that. Whenever you do that, it kind of brings you right back here, right now. If you think about it, one thing for me, a great example for me, and maybe it is for some of you, is that what will bring me right here, right now, when I'm in one of those moments where I'm obsessing and I'm thinking about all the things I've got to do and all the things that could go wrong and all that stuff, is if I get a massage. For some reason, and clearly it is the touch, but it clears my head like nothing else does. And it's about being just right there and be present with the massage as it's happening, and it starts to loosen up. The thoughts start to loosen up, and I can be right here. So being present is not about being present with the emotional turmoil. It's not about being present with all of the obsessions. It's about being in the room, hearing the sounds of the air conditioning, hearing my voice, knowing what it feels like to sit in these uncomfortable chairs for a long period, and knowing what that feels like in your body. That's what it's about to be present. And every time you've experienced joy in your life, it's because you have been very present. And helping our clients to learn how to be present gives them the prerequisite skill to being able to experience joy in their life and to get the direction in their life that they need from joy and passion. Until we learn to regulate and contain negative emotions, we cannot experience joy. All right, think of it this way. This is a simple analogy, but I think it's accurate. We all have a finite emotional capacity. Think of it as a jar. You've got a jar inside of you, and you can feel so many emotions. And it's limited, it's contained, okay? What happens with this emotional capacity is that when we start to experience a lot of negative emotions, joy and empathy begin to rise to the top and eventually spill over. They crowd out the space for joy and empathy. And I'll give you some examples that I know you can really relate to. Whenever you see someone who's in a lot of pain and really struggling, it's all about them, isn't it? And they can come in to, whether they're working with you or a treatment center, and they could care less about the other community, they could care less about anything. It is all about me. Why is that? It's because when your jar is filled with negative emotions, empathy and joy are fragile and they spill out. And that's actually true for all of us. As empathetic as all of us are in our practice, when your emotional jar is full of painful emotions, how empathetic are you really? Intellectually we might be, but I can guarantee you we're not really empathetic emotionally, because that space fills. Now, when all of the events in your life become increasingly more and more painful, and they trigger more and more negative emotions, what happens to joy? It's gone, yeah, and there's no space for it. So we keep experiencing these negative emotions, and our capacity keeps getting filled with them over and over again, and we can't get to the place of joy. It's almost as if it's physiologically not possible for us to get to joy, because our space, our emotional space, is consumed with this strong, incredibly strong, overwhelming negative emotions. So in that context, we need to understand that it's extraordinarily important that we teach emotion regulation skills, and in particular teach the skills that are effective in reducing and containing negative emotions. If we are going to get our clients to the place where they can hear the voice of God inside them, if you will, the still small voice, if they're able to access their passion, their joy that drives our authentic creativity, We have to help create the space for that by giving them tools to regulate the negative.